this evening, as I mentioned earlier, we've been joined by the celebrated poet, Professor Atukwei Okai. He's a celebrated Ghanaian poet. He taught Russian literature at the University of Ghana. He's the faculty member of African Studies at Legon and an executive of the Pan-African Writers Association here in Ghana. He's published volumes of poems, and I'm sure you'll always remember him for his very popular one, Logoligi Logarithms. This evening, he's here to share with us some more of his fantastic poetry. And if you agree with me, let's show him some love, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Atukwei Okai, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd bring him up on stage, but he would like a standing mic, and so he'll do it from right down here. Thank you very much for gracing the occasion, Professor Atukwei Okai. We appreciate your presence. Thank you.
What is that? Komla is a young man. So why should I be standing here on account of Komla? But who are we? Komla calls me uncle. I know his family. I know his sister. I know his grandfather. The piece I'm going to perform today has been commanded by Komla and his father without their knowing. When it happened, we called in their home, and when we were about to leave, Komla's daddy told me how much he remembers my visits to Broadcasting House while he was there. And I didn't remember. But I was a fixture there in Broadcasting House. I was a broadcaster before Komla was born. In fact, the broadcasters, the senior ones, I was a young person, the senior ones, Mrs. Lily Nketia, Bosman Laye, and others on the first floor, they made an anthem of the poem I'm going to perform. And they sang the anthem in a foreign language, Russian. Because I had come down, I think, on holidays, and I told them about, I read the poem to them in Russian, and they were fascinated. So whenever they see me, they say, Takoya yes, Bakaya yes. Because of the sound in the poem. This poem has been performed all over the world, including the Russian version. And Komla has commanded this poem to be read because it talks about what Komla stood for. His whole career went to prove that the African too can deliver even to the level of the world. And that is what this poem is about. It is called The African, and it's taken from the book The Oath of the Phantom from and other poems. I'll give you a flavor of the Russian version, just the beginning. Такой я есть, такой я есть. Глашатый мысли мой язык. Я говорю в лицо врагу все, что я думаю о нем. Ты не можешь теперь меня ударить, как ты мог. Не сполошив моих зверей, птиц, петухов. Они мои с недавних пор. Такой я есть, такой я есть. So that's the beginning of the poem. In fact, my children, all girls, would visit Komla in Legon Hall, and he would come out and sit with them at a place called Time Out and chat with them. They did this very often because while Komla was on campus, we too were on campus. This has been the nature of the relationship. But the fame that Komla garnered for Africa started from his grandfather. Because while I was studying in Moscow, I was to come on holidays, and I was involved in things so much so that the secretary of the Right Composers Union of the Soviet Union gave me a message to bring to Komla's grandfather, Mr. Philip Behu. When I brought it, the man said, so they say, I should bring it to me, They want to see me, Okay, I'll be coming. And I took the reply back to Moscow. And of course, I loved the old man very much, and I was fascinated by his music to the extent that in my room, hostel room in Moscow, I would be singing, Agbaye, Dina, da, 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 then I'll be dancing. I love this music very much. So this is the poem. It was composed in 1960. The African, just as I am, counted with those who breathe. You cannot break my bone, just as you cannot scan the sun. Let watching witches watch, and leave my brook to bark. Just as I am, in eyes of those who see. You cannot grade my grain, just as you cannot catch the wind. So let fighting flies fight, and leave my land to lie. Just as I am, counted with those with limbs. You cannot catch my cow, just as you cannot arrest the clouds. Let singing lizards sing, and leave my grass to green. Just as I am, to touch of those who feel. You cannot sing my song, just as you cannot hold the air. So let standing stones stand, and leave my cocks to crow. Just as I am, to those who smell. You cannot sail my sea, just as you cannot reach the sky. Let falling fairies fall, and leave my fish to float. Just as I am, counted with those who walk. You cannot shake my spear, just as you cannot count the stars. So let crawling cows crawl, and leave my mind to move. Just as I am, just as I am, counted with those with tongue. You cannot face my foe, just as you cannot drink the dam. Let wailing wizards wail, and leave my waves to break. Just as I am, just as I am. You cannot bend my bush, just as you cannot count the ants. So let swimming ships swim, and leave my stars to shine. Just as I am, just as I am. Counted with those with hearts. You cannot know my woe, just as you cannot drink the dam. Let fading flowers fade, and leave my seed to sink. Just as I am, just as I am. To minds of men who think, you cannot cut my corn, just as you cannot count the sand. So let talking trees talk, and leave my goats to graze.